All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. How are we doing, bud?
I'm doing great, besides fighting the damn cold.
Yeah,
That's about it.
I mean, at least it's getting nice here in Michigan, so,
Yeah, for now, they're saying it's supposed to be 60, and then we're supposed to get some snow again this week.
well, we are the Mitten
It
State.
is, yeah, that's true.
So this little pod we're doing here, so we're gonna cover kind of the Elimination Chamber, kind of our takeaway, from the winners, losers, good parts about it, bad parts about it. So they started with the women's elimination chamber match, um, which basically so we had Bianca Belair come out first, followed by Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Becky Lynch. Now they've already been pushing. So Becky Lynch won, which was no surprise given how much.
I thought Bianca was gonna win it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was too much foreshadowing and too much storyline build, as far as between Becky and Rhea. Um, I
True.
think they kind of foreshadowed it with giving us so much story build up.
Yeah,
Um,
you got the man and mommy.
yeah, and it kind of sucks because it's like you get Naomi who came back, you got Raquel that came back from injury, and realistically all for nothing essentially because they've already basically kind of already guided us in the direction of Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they started that type of story right about the time Royal Rumble started. They were
Yeah,
pushing it.
yeah, and that's the thing too is like I and the match was okay. Um, definitely,
It had some good moments in it. I thought a lot of the women in that match did a very great job. The move that Liv Morgan did, jumping off the top of that pod onto what's her name, that looked like that fucking hurt.
yeah, I think honestly, I think it's good that they are pushing Tiffany Stratton, even if she's just kind of a jobber at this point on the main roster. But I think like she jumped straight from NXT to the main roster and kind of at least into a you know
Kind of a main event.
yeah, I mean it kind of pushing main event. I think she's kind of a to be honest, she's kind of a Mandy Rose 2.0. Um,
I can kind of see that.
I mean and they kind of changed her name a little bit and they changed her intro music a little bit from NXT to the main roster. Not much different, but it's like you have this certain character that you're portraying that basically just kind of seems like a knockoff Mandy Rose. But, you know,
Pretty much close.
yeah. And so, I mean, good match, solid match, lots of spots, lots of good spots, lots of, strength from Raquel as always. Same thing with Bianca. Like, I think that WWE is starting to really get, these larger than life, like from the female end of, the roster. I mean, Rhea is getting strong. I think Bianca's got her on strength. I think Raquel's got her on strength. But I think it's a new breed of wrestling. I think I feel like they need to give them more than like 5-10 minute matches.
Yeah, I
Maybe
totally
that's
agree.
just me.
In my opinion, I think some of these women matches should be a little bit longer as like a man's match,
Yeah, I think
and to
it's
show what they could do actually in the ring. I could think a lot of these women could probably perform and get the crowd hyped up more than a man can. Some of them.
yeah, and a lot of times it's like it gets you get in the match, you get a good match going, and then all of a sudden kind of the same like steps to the end of the match happen. And I think it happens too quick. It doesn't let them showcase, I mean, I mean, some women can. I mean, Becky can go the long distance. Rhea can go distance. Charlotte can go distance. Becky can go distance. Io Sky can go distance. And so I think that it's all kind of women's. Which women are in the matches to how long they're going to give them for a match. I mean, some of them it's like okay, it's like when Valhalla comes out, and has that like a 5-6 minute match. But I don't think Sarah Logan really has much to offer wrestling wise. She kind of has her gimmick as Valhalla, and she's just a manager. Same thing with Maxine Dupree. They're not good wrestlers. They're just good managers.
She should never came back as the name Valhalla. She should have came back as her normal name that she had.
Yeah, which is Sarah Logan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because anybody that's like me who's a Norse and Valhalla it's a place where you go like for a Christian goes to heaven, Norse go to Valhalla.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, like the name is what throws the group off. Like there's nothing. The
Pretty
Viking
much.
Raiders are legitimately living like Vikings. They're not. It's not really a gimmick.
No,
And so
that's just who they are as real life people.
yeah, and I think that, like you said, that I think it's a little bit condescending to have her have that name because she could still be Sarah Logan and
Oh,
be in
agree.
and that wouldn't affect the Viking Raiders at all.
Nope.
But anyway, so skipping ahead, second match, you had the title match. I mean, I would say the Grayson Waller effect was more entertaining than the tag match because we knew it wasn't going to happen. You have the
Yeah,
Judgment Day
we knew they were gonna keep their titles.
I give it up though for Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, aka the New Catch Republic is their name. I do give them they played a good match. They had a good match.
Oh, that
We know
match!
it
I
wasn't
thought
gonna
that
happen.
match was great. I loved
I
it.
mean,
I'm
you
glad Pete
know,
Dunne's back to his normal name.
oh yeah, bruiserweight man. And the one thing that I'm starting to like, I think most anybody is realizing is that Elimination Chamber is not what it used to be. you know, the last, let's call it 10 years ish, right? You basically have it before WrestleMania, which means that n- there's no titles going to exchange unless
Nope.
the person's really fading out of their storyline. Rhea's not going to
That
lose no
or
matter
hurt.
how many times Rhea and, Nia go at it, no matter all that stuff. It's just not going to happen. It's not a, there's nobody's going to lose any titles. They used to have, even at least the Intercontinental or United States. I think they should have put the United States Championship in there and just had a fatal four-way for the person to face Seth Rollins. That's all I think it should have been. I think that, Logan has no business being in anything. You've seen that throughout the whole match. Logan was not really active.
Yeah, he wasn't really
He,
doing jack squat. He was just more getting his
and so
ass kicked.
I mean, he entered last, which, yeah, it doesn't really play into the fact everybody's losing titles. And then, so before we get into the men's, they had the Grayson Waller effect, which I think you're starting to see a little bit of cracks in the friendship with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, given the fact that just recently on SmackDown, you had Grayson Waller go into the Bloodline locker room, and then you've seen that when they had their little show and everything, you see that Austin Theory just kind of got pissed, took the mic, and
Yep.
basically started throwing stabs at The Rock, which I don't want The Rock back. Just go back to Hollywood, dude.
That's
You
where he
know,
needs to stay. He needs to stay in Hollywood or just
I'm
behind the
not.
scenes.
I'm not a fan of The Rock being back in WWE
I'm not
because
either.
you're not gonna fight. You're not gonna do anything. You taught you there, we think that there's gonna be a match, and most likely, I don't think there will be. Maybe Backlash. Maybe Backlash will be, because I think it's the following pay per view after WrestleMania, and I think that
It's
Backlash
Backlash.
might be. What's that?
Yeah, it was Backlash.
Yeah, so I think
It's
that
WrestleMania Backlash.
I think it just says Backlash now, but
All right.
I think that if they do run it back, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. Now, all right. Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, so men's elimination chamber match: Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and LA Knight. Drew won by
I
kind of
had a feeling they were gonna. Me personally, I had a feeling they were gonna have Drew win it because Drew's won the world title in an empty stadium, and
twice.
I think they're gonna have him.
I think
I think
he's
they're gonna have him win it at WrestleMania this year in front of an audience.
I think, yeah, and I think that I think Drew wins, and or hypothetically, if Judgment Day loses their titles and Drew wins, and Damian cashes in, because Damian doesn't have a lot of time to cash that thing in right now.
Nope.
He's not cashing in on Roman. It's not going to happen.
No.
And Roman better get beat. If he doesn't, you're going to have a lot of pissed off fans in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, definitely. Everybody's gonna be pissed off if they let Roman keep that freaking title. I think it's stupid that they are gonna let him keep that fucking title.
And people are starting to break kayfabe by basically just saying, "Hey, look, Roman showed up." You talk about how dominant you are, but you don't wrestle. You don't show up. You don't do anything. So you're the days and months in between. You're like adding up those 30, 60, 90 days to your reign when you haven't defended. You can't.
Yeah, he wasn't even there for Elimination Chamber.
Paul, you can't say the reigning, defending, undisputed. You can't say that.
Nope.
That's not like you might be reigning, but you're not defending. Maybe what? I think he wrestled in solo matches, maybe 6 last year in total. So you're telling me that 6 days out of 52 weeks, so you just, obviously you're only wrestling premium live events, but still, you're not defending it. You're not reigning defending. That's
Nope.
why, Seth and Gunther on Raw have carried more weight of championship validity than SmackDown. SmackDown has nothing. Think about it. Roman doesn't show up. Logan Paul doesn't show up.
I think I noticed Logan Paul shows up on the same days as Roman when he's there.
You have defenseless titles right now. It's kind of, it's obnoxious when you have champions that aren't there. Logan needs to lose. Period. Outright. He needs to lose to Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Bye Logan. Go back to doing your podcast and stealing money from children. Go for it. Bye. We don't need you. We don't want you. And I'm not disputing that he's not a good wrestler, and from the little bit of time that he has been in WWE, but I'm not buying him as a week-to-week wrestler.
No, he's more of like a part-timer straight up. That's all he wants is to be part-time.
He's worse than a part-timer.
Man, Brock Lesnar showed up more than he has.
Well, and the thing is that you want Logan Paul to be you want to be a draw, right? For his YouTubers. If he's not there, his YouTubers don't give a crap. They're not watching the product because they know he's not going to be there. Straight out. If he's not there, what are you drawing? I think TKO needs to make a decision to just drop Logan. He can show up once in a while, wrestle a match or two, but don't hold titles. Don't hold that. Don't hold the United States Championship hostage. he's holding that title hostage just like Roman is. At least Gunther and Seth on Raw, the 3-hour show, the A show, the always gonna be the A show.
They're
They're
defending
titles.
that title every single freaking week.
Oh yeah, dude, all
Either
the
it's
time.
on Raw or on pay-per-views.
Yeah, I mean they're carrying the work.
This is the only
the
pay-per-view
champions.
this is the only pay-per-view that Seth set out because of his knee.
Yeah, I mean they're
And Gunter
he's
couldn't go over
basically
there.
yeah, I mean he's nursing it, you know, so he's at least, you know, 85% there at WrestleMania to lose to Roman. I mean to Drew. You know, and so I think it was good to kind of give him a little bit of a break. You know, I think Seth Rollins is always a bigger draw than Roman. Seth shows up. Hell, The Miz shows up. Chad Gable shows up. Gunther shows up. Drew shows up. I mean, Raw is stacked. SmackDown is basically just a bunch of useless tag matches and singles matches, men and women.
Pretty much true. It's just
SmackDown is a joke right now.
SmackDown's just becoming very dull to me.
Yeah, yeah,
I
100%.
can fall asleep too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you only have 2 hours. You don't do anything with 2 hours? Okay, cool.
Besides a whole bunch of freaking talking.
Yeah.
Backstage talking. It's mostly all I see.
Yeah, it's a giant chat fest. You know, and it sucks because you know, you don't have any real agenda on SmackDown other than just having, you know, these quote unquote like rivalries or these new revived, you know, storylines of, oh, the New Day doesn't like the Viking Raiders. Oh, you know, it's like you said, SmackDown is very stale, very, very stale. I'm not entertained, as Sheamus would say. I'm over the product. I'm over, you know, and we've probably said this 1,000 times, and pretty sure everybody else has said the thing 1,000 times. Split the damn tag titles up. For the love of donuts, split the title matches up. Let there be a tag on one, tag on the other. Just like every other title, there's a counterpart. Raw to the SmackDown.
Totally agree. They need to have Raw should have their tag titles, and SmackDown should have theirs, because that's the way it used to be.
The good old days.
Yep.
And that's the thing is they've unified them before. You know,
and they didn't stay unified very long.
No, they had those old gold titles.
Yeah,
I'd say
the first time they unified them was
I think it was like mid
the Hart Dynasty.
Yeah.
They were the first, and after that was I think it was Jericho and Big Show.
Yeah, I mean they've just never held on them this long with, you know, the fact that they're still not like a unified. They're still just walking around with both belts. It's about as obnoxious.
They've been holding those on since they did bind them both together when they were here in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, you know, for the whole bloodline and being both and everything else. Which I don't know. I love the fact that, you know, Main Event Jay is doing his own thing. Best thing he ever did for his career. Best thing ever. You know,
totally
because
agree.
You know, Jay has always carried, you know, things, you know, even bloodline related. Like, you know, it was Main Event Jey Uso and Jimmy was hurt. Solo came in like, you know, year-ish ago. You know, I think it was at WrestleMania? I think so. You know, and so, you know, Solo really, I mean, he's the enforcer of the bloodline, which makes no sense because you're not a champion, dude. His matches are pretty subpar. You know, he's not going the distance in matches. He's in that like 12 to 15-minute range of a match.
He needs to speak a lot more.
Yeah, I like when he speaks though. I like
Yeah,
when Solo speaks because it's like
when he was in NXT, he was always on the mic.
yeah,
He has better mic skills than freaking Roman does.
I mean it's to the point where Roman is just a knockoff Brock.
Pretty much.
You know, but like we're over these part-time champions. We're over these holding titles hostage. I mean, how long did it took? What? But about 2 years of Roman holding both titles before they made the one that Seth Rollins has.
Pretty much.
You know, like when you take away the allure of championships changing hands, you take away the ooh-ah moments, you take away the like
oh my
OMG
gosh,
moments.
Yep.
You know, it's boring. Like I'm never gonna
mostly every Roman Reigns' matches are freaking boring. And you on Raw, you had Solo interfere in Drew and Cody Rhodes' match.
Yeah, it's to the point where just like it's hard for people, working in WWE to not, not to use the pun, but acknowledge, the fact that, oh, here we go again. Oh, look, Jimmy, here he comes. Jimmy screws his brother. Woo, whoa, big surprise. We're so basically numb to the entertainment of it all because it's like, oh look, this happened again. Cool. Bloodline does something.
Same
Wow.
crap every freaking week, every single month.
And then you had SmackDown run back the match again with JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio versus Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and it's like, how many times are you gonna run this match back over again? Dominic and JD McDonough don't win matches.
No, they suck.
How is mommy not pissed right now? The fact that you guys continue to lose. I mean, come on, R-Truth wins more matches for Judgment Day than JD and Dominic.
That is true, and he's been pulling in a lot more money sales on merchandise than anybody else.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I'm more excited to see what R-Truth's gonna do than oh look, Judgment Day, outside interference. Oh, I want clean matches. I want just good old fashioned wrestling. That's why I like Imperium. I love Gunther. I love Ludwig Kaiser. I love Baldy, whatever his name is.
Baldy.
Yeah,
Cue ball.
And so, yeah, they respect the mat, and that's not just a pun. That's literally how they view wrestling.
They respect
you got some wrestlers that,
ring.
Some of these people are just kind of there for the whatever, but they come from, UK and wherever else, or technically Austria, I guess, but, from a more entertainment produced wrestling and a respect for their wrestling versus WWE that seems to crap on that mentality of respecting the mat, having good matches that aren't interfered. But, here we sit. Oh, look, predictable. Oh, here, oh, well, we're just waiting for him to come out. I want to be shocked again. I want to have those moments where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that happening, right?
Yeah, same.
Because realistically, Jay should have beat Gunther. He had him beat.
Oh yeah, he definitely had him beat.
And honestly,
that was a hell of a
what
good
did
match.
the ding 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 have to do? What did the ding, ding, ding have to do with anything? Like the ref literally just could have counted 1, 2, 3. Like,
Hey, he could have just fucking
like
ignored it.
they act like we're so naive and ignorant to how things work. We are fans. We watch it every week, multiple times a week, for years, decades, all of it. We're not stupid to the ply of how things happen in wrestling, you know. And if you think you're fooling me, like, oh, when the ref doesn't, when all of a sudden the ref didn't, all of a sudden he sees the brass knuckles on Kevin Owens' hand. They never look for anything on the hands. They count 1, 2, 3. They don't look around. They don't, they don't do any of that unless it's written. And then especially obviously, oh yeah, Kevin Owens doesn't win because he had the brass knuckles or whatever, like, please, for the love of donuts, just have wrestling matches. Just be wrestling matches without all that outside interference. We're all over it. Okay, I don't think there's a WWE fan. I would say 75% of WWE fans are sick and tired of outside interference.
I'm definitely one of them.
Like,
I'm getting sick of every single week and every single pay-per-view of it.
yeah, it's just to the point where it's like, oh yeah, we're been there, done that, seen it again. I'm not really all that, ooh ah of it all. So, but yeah, it's to the point where it's, we're not surprised, we're not in awe, and I feel like we want to have, clean matches back. We want just, easy peasy. But yeah,
It was
I
not too
don't know.
bad
I
of a.
mean,
It was a good pay-per-view at in Australia since they haven't been there since like 2018.
yeah, it's been a while since, they've, had it, and I think that they're starting to branch out more, as far as, the whole other countries and stuff like that. So I think it's cool. But yeah.
Let's say Rhea's match was pretty good. I think her match was probably my favorite match.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit predictable, but that's okay.
Yeah, I already knew she was gonna win because they're not gonna have her lose her title in her home country.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing is too, is that you like that stuff was so foreshadowed. Like, you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, she's definitely gonna lose in Australia. Well, and I think Gunther couldn't be there anyways because I think he said I think from what I heard, his green card or whatever, his visa or something, like, wasn't, quite cleared yet. And so, but he'll definitely he'll be holding on to his title till Bash in Berlin,
Oh yeah.
which obviously is many moons away. But I think Gunther's going to have that title for, I'd say 2.5. I think his reign will be well into, close to 3 years.
Yeah, probably a lot longer than Roman's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be longer than Romans, but like, I definitely think that, you know, he's gonna hold on to that for a while, but he's at least defending it.
Yeah, he's
But
defended it pretty much every single damn week.